public speaking statistically happens to be the biggest fear in the world. However, when we look deeper into the problem, it's not quite what it seems. It's not about public speaking.
Whoa.
It's actually about people. People fear people. People can be quite terrifying, especially when in large groups. They can make our knees shake, mind go blank, heart race, hands get clammy, you name it. And this is what happens to most of us when we have to speak in front of a group of people. What's very paradoxical about this fear is that the very thing we are resisting is the thing that will help us the most, and that is being our true selves.
Yay!
People come up with all forms of strategies to conceal their true identity when in public. However, without realizing it, by denying themselves to themselves, they struggle in humongous proportions. What ends up happening is people develop an anxiety about having anxiety, a fear of the fear. It's a never-ending loop created by an anxious mind that's yelling, "Nobody should see the real me." And this is, of course, where the good old age advice comes in handy. Be yourself. Right? People say be yourself, but sometimes we don't quite understand how to practically make it happen. School of Connection, a public speaking and confidence training company, has spent over 5 years studying and researching ancient Eastern yogic teachings to learn from the wise ancient sages and philosophers the secret in helping us discover how to be our true selves. So why ancient yogic traditions? And what can we learn from them? Well, the true definition of the word yoga means union. Union with your true self. Which of course raises the question, who am I? Quite often we like to define ourselves with our name, our job, our gender, our thoughts. But none of these really represent our truest, deepest essence. You see, when we're in connection with our essence, we automatically are in connection with other people's essence. Because in essence, we all share the same essence. This is the very interesting revelation ancient Eastern prophets, seers, masters, and teachers have arrived at. They've discovered that we all share the same self. We say myself, yourself, themselves, ourselves, right? And all of these share the self. This self enjoys expressing itself in an infinite amount of variations of different selves, but at the roots, they all are interconnected with the same self. So by being myself, I'm also able to connect with yourself. This is where we experience connection, a union with ourselves. And connection happens to be the true antidote to fear. Because fear can only exist in a place where there is disconnection, a sense of separation between me and you. And that's the feeling people describe when speaking in front of an audience. It feels like people are against them. So our fear aggravates this feeling not only by separation, but by taking the feeling to its extreme, where all the people appear as enemies. The anxious mind screams, "There's danger! These people are against you, get out!" And the body, of course, accordingly responds with dreadful panic. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be this way. If we follow the ancient yogic teachings and we root ourselves in being our true selves, we will find that now, suddenly the audience that was full of enemies becomes an audience full of friends. And that's the biggest joy we get to experience when speaking in front of other people, where it suddenly feels like you're in a room full of friends and you're sharing the space, the conversation. You know that feeling when you're talking to your friend and you completely lose yourself in the conversation? It can feel as if you're merging together into one. And sometimes people say, "Oh my God, we're so similar, I feel like we're twins." And this is a state of true union. Deep connection where I become you and you become me. We become one. This feels good because ultimately I have allowed myself to be open and to be my true self. But you see, we think it's our friends that have made us feel good. But in reality, we have made ourselves feel good by allowing ourselves to feel good in the presence of our friends. So we don't have to reserve experiencing feeling good in our own skin only with our friends. We can give ourselves the same level of permission in all interactions, ultimately to be in union with ourselves. The deeper I'm connected with myself, the deeper the connections I can experience with those around me. True connection and intimacy can only happen when I am being myself, because that's where myself meets yourself. And in this state, I have no fear. The whole world becomes an extension of myself. The world becomes a playground where I can play with utmost freedom and joy. So follow the yogic wisdom of yoga. Stay in union with yourself. Stay open. Root yourself in your depth. And you might find that suddenly, in the place there was fear, there is now love and connection.